Hello and welcome to Retrobotics. It has been a while. We say that every time because it has always been a while. Why? Because we don't make videos enough, even when we have ample content to make videos for. Case in point, today's video is iRobot. We've had this thing working for 3 weeks now.
Enjoying it. Playing it almost every day.
And very frequently I'm like, we should make a video about this, and I keep trying. I've recorded dialogue, I've made scripts, but I'm never quite happy with what I'm saying about iRobot because I wanted to do this whole thing telling the entire history of the game and then decided that's too ambitious. So instead we're just going to do a off-the-cuff, here it is video. Mm-hmm. So here it is. Obviously restored now, but we're going to just talk a little bit about the journey because this started over a year ago.
Yeah, this has been on our list, I think since we started forming a list. Liam loves these pedestal Atari games, and you can see right now we have 2 more to come. So we knew we wanted iRobot, and it was just about finding one. And I think you had actually seen this cabinet on eBay, like even more than a year ago, on Craigslist.
Yeah. The guy who had this cabinet doesn't look like it was originally... Disgusting. It was probably the worst cabinet we ever picked up, but it looked the part on Craigslist. It had been converted to a bootleg GALLAG. GALLAG of all things, and poorly. Whatever operator had gone through there had taken a sawzall through the top of the cabinet.
No, it was really bad. And then, so bad that this is a different headbox.
Yeah, it's a different headbox. Yeah. This is a Firefox. I have the original in the garage still, but it's unsalvageable.
Yeah. But yeah, once we ended up, you corresponded with this guy on Craigslist for a while.
I tried. It was months of trying to get him to agree to sell me the cabinet.
Yeah, he didn't respond for some reason. Anyways, we finally set up we were doing a trip up the East Coast anyways, so we set up a time to pick it up, and we're like, I don't know. It took a while to get it, but eventually we got it.
And it was the worst cabinet we ever picked up. Like I said before, it was water damaged.
Yeah.
It was chewed through with the sawzall, just straight through paneling. It was fire damaged. The entire back of the cabinet was made of charcoal so much that I could put my fingernail through it.
It just fought a bunch of Pokemon, basically.
It was really bad. But determined to bring it back to life because this is a real iRobot cabinet. We even got the original side art out of it, so that was cool.
Yeah, you were just able to strip off the paint.
Yeah, it was black paint. But man, it was iRobot spent more money on the PCB for this game than any other video games total.
So many money.
And to think about how much it was worth it, we went to Galloping Ghost and got a chance to play one even before we started this, and it was. Yeah. I was anxious going in because
he loves the game so much and he really wanted to like it in person, but you can't play iRobot anywhere. Literally only Galloping Ghosts, I think, in the country.
Yeah.
At least that we know of. And so we went, all the way to Chicago to play their games, but specifically iRobot was one of the ones that we had to play. Thankfully it was working.
Yeah, I was so happy because it really felt like everything that I had wanted out of the game. I had built this thing up in my head. I had played it so much on emulation. Yeah. And I was really excited that when we finally got a chance to go play it at Galloping Ghost, it met my expectations. It was such a cool game.
Yeah. But the problem is that because it's how rare is this game?
It's rare, but it's
more just you can't get the parts.
Yeah.
So I remember we have the cabinet, right? Then we had to pay a lot of money for the boards. But then it's there's still a list of things that we didn't have this control panel. We're where the heck are we going to find this? And so Liam is just I think we were getting close to putting it out on our, in our game room, but we didn't have the control panel. But I was okay, that's, not the worst thing to not have in terms of, we could still play with a joystick until we could get a control panel. But
there are only 2 parts in this ultimate cabinet that are reproduction.
Yeah.
It's this little instruction graphic and a piece of the wiring harness that I rebuilt. But everything else, we got so lucky with wonderful, generous people on KLF. And we'll point it out when we do the cabinet tour of some of these parts. But everything on this cabinet is completely original. And you're asking, why is it rare?
Yeah.
It seems like iRobot is about the same rarity as Firefox and Major Havoc. Or actually less rare than Major Havoc, but it commands a higher price. Why? Because every single part of this stupid cabinet is bespoke.
Yeah.
The PCB uses a unique graphics processor called the IC, which does the 3D graphics for the game.
Mm-hmm.
The joystick was a special design for iRobot, as was the control panel. The monitor was an Atari Disco monitor, which was kind of interesting and unreliable. And it, in turn, was powered by an unreliable and unique Atari switching power supply, only used in this game and Firefox cockpits and TX3. So you got that. And then you've got additional wiring harness components and just the general layout of the machine. It was crazy.
So what's different about this joystick than like the Atari joysticks on Gauntlet?
That's a good question. Actually, it shares a lot of the same parts as the other Atari Logos joysticks. I think the shaft and the upper housing is the same, but unlike that, the Hall effect joystick uses magnets in order to determine the analog position. So it was seen by Atari as a more reliable replacement for the analog sticks they had used in Food Fight and Red Baron. Spoiler alert, it wasn't. But they tried.
Whenever we play this, and I'm like going side by side, Liam's like, you actually can get a lot of precision if you don't move it that much. And I'm like, so you're just saying a nice way of being like, Sam, don't jerk the joystick around, don't break the joystick.
Yeah, this is a new old stock joystick. It's absolutely perfectly smooth, and I want to keep it that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was a crazy process to restore the actual game. It started out with trying to salvage the cabinet. We stripped it down to nothing. All the components, pulled it out, took inventory of what we had. We had the original wiring harness, which was hacked up for GALLAG. We had the coin door, the service panel, and that was it. Everything else was missing.
You did such a good job though, because like you repainted the front, right?
Yeah, I repainted the front. I masked off the art after I did everything, sanded it down, repainted it, repainted the coin door.
Where did you acquire
these? I bought another Firefox cabinet for the head rails.
Yeah.
So those also came off of a Firefox.
Marquee?
The marquee is a new old stock original marquee.
Separately, yeah.
So that came separately along with the glass. And the control panel was sourced on Caleb as well as the joystick. I was able to borrow, thanks to a wonderful friend of ours, an original iRobot harness. From that, I was able to reproduce the missing elements of the harness itself and make that all original. I converted a pole position EMI filter to match the iRobot specifications from the manual. So all the little decoupling capacitors, I was sitting there for an hour going, trying to put those little decoupling caps in there, but that's all lined up properly. That is from the original GALLAG conversion, and I didn't feel like removing it.
I think it looks fine, but yeah, it's definitely...
I have to figure out if there's something that I can do with this that's useful, but I think it's funny. I just decided to leave it there.
It's not bad.
But yeah, no, I'm over the moon with this game, and finally I think I've knocked all the bugs out. I only set the power supply on fire once while rebuilding it. But I think ultimately I knocked out all the bugs, so really excited. So let's go ahead and give it a play. Okay, let's play some iRobot. We'll start with Sam and run through some of the levels. So your objective in iRobot is to turn all the red spaces to blue spaces so that you can drain the shield of Big Brother and jump to the next level.
So cute.
On the space waves, you're trying to shoot all of those little polygons called tetras. You shoot all of them, you get a bonus point. And if you beat the best score in the bottom left, you'll get an additional best score bonus.
Is it actually possible to shoot all of them?
Yes, you can shoot all of them. The one law of iRobot is that you cannot jump while the eye is open. Otherwise, the eye will kill you.
Well, no. The eye can be open, it's just the red eye.
Oh yeah, the red eye.
Shoot.
You gotta shoot the birds, too.
But if I'm going sideways, can I shoot them?
No.
Sad.
So I'm gonna warp ahead a few levels. So I'll show you even greater level coverage.
So you were saying this is the first game with 3D graphics?
Yes. There is a bit of contention on that between iRobot and another game called Cube Quest. as to which came first. CubeQuest hit the market first because it was released ahead of schedule. They rushed it out the door, even though it was unfinished. But iRobot had a working prototype first. It was in development earlier, and they had the hardware in testing by 1982. So iRobot I would consider to be the true first game with real-time graphics. It even states as much in the track screen, saying this is the first game. We had one of our friends come and play the game, and he said to me that playing it felt like playing just engineer bragging rights, like a tech demo. And I have to say, he's absolutely right. This is exactly what this game is. Every component of the game was Atari just flexing on other engineers. Like, look what we can do. We made this switching power supply. We made this 3D board. So, iRobot actually started out as a flying game called Ice World, and even before that, it was conceptualized as a driving game. iRobot is another road speed bump on Atari's long quest to make a 3D driving game. They tried it with Battlezone, failed. They tried it with Star Wars and failed, and then they went on to try iRobot and failed.
Did you know that you're trying to avoid solid objects?
No, I really did not know that.
I know, it's a pretty fun fact. So, remember that next time.
Here's another interesting thing about how Atari's 3D graphics work. Most modern graphics pipelines use triangles to plot everything, but the IC was capable of plotting arbitrary polygons tessellated to make something. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, nothing. I was just shitting.
If you collect all those letters, you'll get an extra life.
I just love when it, says why you died, but it's like... Oh, should I stay at this level?
Yeah, you can stay there.
It says why you died, but it's like, oh yeah, no duh, but... I guess it does have to tell you the rules, like in case you didn't, figure out that the reason you died is because you hit the object and you're not supposed to hit it.
Yeah. Do not jump if the eye is red. There's a jump in the middle there. Best score. Shoot all the tetras, and I think, best base score as well.
Wow, good job, hun.
I hate this level. I never get the algorithm right.
It weirds me out that it auto-changes the view when you're bad, like I am.
Yeah, it sometimes thinks maybe you don't have a good enough view, and that's why you're not doing well, so ow.
I'm just doing bad because I'm bad. Let's go!
So you want to collect all the jewels.
Yeah, I'm not as good at the jewel levels. Got him! Oh,
did you know that you're supposed to avoid solid objects?
Oh my gosh, thank you for letting me know, honey. Oh, I died?
Yeah.
Ooh.
It's because you didn't avoid the solid objects.
Next time. Maybe next one I'll just try to get good.
Yeah, skill issue.
Skill issue. I don't even know what my high score is on this game.
Oh. Let's see if I can get to the sharks.
Oh, sharks! They are very cute.
So these guys, the spiky ones, they're called tankers. If you shoot them, they get mad, and they'll attack you.
So if you have to get a perfect level, do you also have to kill them?
No, don't touch them, is my advice. It's technically possible to kill them, but it takes too many shots, and you move too quickly, that I've only successfully pulled it off a couple times. It is not worth it.
I see.
I usually don't get all of them.
Uh-huh.
On that level. Sharks!
Oh my gosh,
they swim through the level. And they play the little Jaws theme.
Yeah. It's a great touch.
Now we get the head. The spiking head.
I love how 1984 the eyeball is.
Yeah. This guy. I hate him, because if you don't hit all the spikes, you just die immediately. So it doesn't give you any chance to miss. Failure not an option with him. I usually die on this level. If you hit him, he'll turn around and stop spiking. But I found that it's more of an art than a science to get him to stay turned around. I think each one of these takes 2 shots to be destroyed. Please stay turned around. Stop! Oh, wow, I did.
Oh my gosh.
Alright, so now we get a new enemy.
Good job.
The turtle bots.
Are those that pyramids?
Yeah, the little pyramids that are moving around.
They're called turtle bots?
I don't know what they're called.
Why?
Mines or something. But they're too low to be shot at, so you can't kill them. So you just gotta avoid them. Ah!
Rip.
That's okay, I cleared half the level.
Halfway there.
On later levels, they're hiding behind things, and you just sort of let them out. Alright, let's see. On this one, the little buzzsaw is moving real fast.
You got it.
I missed one, but whatever.
Oh, you're allowed to knock at all of them?
Yeah, you're allowed to knock it out. Ah, no. See, I hit one and then I died immediately because I was scared.
That made it pretty.
I think on this level you can sort of just stay in the middle here and kill all of the polygons before you get to them.
You're really good at like being in the middle of 2 things.
See, I just hit one and then it went for me.
Porcupines. Sad. Good job.
But yeah, that's the game. Really, really fun.
I actually made it on the high score.
Yeah. Sam.
How many do they keep every time?
3.
No, they have to keep 4. Why are you in 4th place?
Because I just entered another score. I just entered mine.
Oh, wait, pushed it down. Yeah.
But yeah, no, so why don't we open up the cabinet and take a look inside?
Yeah.
Okay, here is the cabinet. We're just going to do a quick walk around and take a look on the outside. So this is the original side art. You can tell it had some damage, including some fire damage back here from when this machine caught fire. Nothing I can do there, but figured might as well keep the original patina. Same thing on this side. You can see at the back it's sort of bubbled up where the fire happened. But what can you do? Joystick and control panel. New old stock, just absolutely wonderful. And then we can go and take a look inside the cabinet. Let's start at the top. We have an Atari Disco DMC 2090 DT. This is the original type of monitor, which is in iRobot. It was also used in Food Fight and Pole Position, I believe. And we can see this little choke I put in here. This is a recreation of the original choke that Atari used for iRobot, which was a Coilcraft model. Unfortunately, they don't make that model anymore, so I had to go with one that was similar. But luckily, I was able to fit this thing in here and actually find one and get it running. So I'm very happy to have that for originality bonus points. And down here, we've got our original labels, serial number 158 for iRobot. A little bit of black paint left on there from the operator, but oh well, I think it's fine. I'm not going to fix that. And we can go inside. So we have our Atari switching power supply. in here. So that was all redone. You can see I put silipods back there on those transistors, which are on that massive heat sink lurking back there. And generally replaced a lot of headers and components, just trying to make this thing as reliable as possible. I didn't even dare power it on at first until those were replaced. We do have the original wiring harness, and you can see some spots where I undid hacks from both the prior operators and from converting this to GALLAG, because the video signal cables were all cut. So I replaced all of them and measured it all to size. This part is original, but this part, the AC harness, which interfaces with the switching power supply, was all missing when we got the cabinet. So I built a new AC harness matching the original specifications from scratch. You can see back in there, we do have the Atari Hall Effect joystick mounted to the control panel. You can see how the buttons are sort of laid in on the top there, which is kind of interesting. That harness, which is hooked up there, is actually a repinned Arabian harness, so not an original iRobot harness, but it works really well. The pinout matches, so I'm not going to be complaining too much there. In fact, I'm super grateful to the person who sold me that. And we have the PCB cage. This is one of those instances where I do have an inaccuracy with the original cabinet. iRobot used a slightly different PCB cage with a lot more ventilation on the side. It was a silver PCB cage. This is just a 2-track that's from pole position. So it does the job. It keeps the cage, it keeps the PCBs in the cage, keeps them separated, but it is not the original. So maybe if I find one day, I'll swap it out. The interface PCB here, this is from a pole position as well, though I did replace the headers and the decoupling capacitors, as well as just cleaning it up to make it the same as the iRobot spec. And I think that came out really nice. It restored well, and I'm going to keep it in here just for the sake of originality. I'm not going to remove it or anything, because the harness is actually sized to have this cage here. It's mounted down to the floor down here, so that if I were to remove the cage and put the harness connectors like this, it actually suffers some strain, especially between the two connectors, because they're meant to be in a line versus separated like this. So I much prefer to be using that cage. And to anyone wondering if there's anything down here, no. iRobot has nothing in the void at the bottom. I do have a ISO brick down there right now because I was originally running it with the ISO brick instead of the switching power supply. And I left it in there just in case I needed it. But the whole reason for that is actually in the original design documents for iRobot, it was meant to use the Major Havoc cabinet. And because it didn't need the Laserdisc player, which is housed in the base of Firefox. So they just ended up doing nothing with it when the Major Havoc cabinet was not ready for production. So that's pretty much the interior of iRobot. I'm happy that all the mounting brackets were in place. We were able to make it as original as possible inside here. And yeah, I just think that it's really nice that instead of buying a intact iRobot, we were able to bring one back from the grave so that there's just one more iRobot in the world. So there we go. So let's just go on to our conclusion. And there you have it. iRobot, a journey of almost a year of trying to put this cabinet back together. Worth it. Yeah. I think this is definitely a treasure for our collection that we are never ever going to be rid of. But so happy that we got a chance to do this and to have this machine represented here. So really glad. Also, before we go, we just got to do a little bit of a product plug.
We have
the official pizza of Retrobotics.
Exactly.
Manbrosso's.
We were lucky enough to visit on the way back from going to Pinfest this weekend, which was super fun. But pizza, delicious. Literally, steak and cheese, life-changing. It literally brought me back to my childhood. It was so good. It was so good.
So if you're ever near the Philadelphia area, go stop out at Manbrosso's to go.
Yeah.
And thank you guys so much for watching this video. And we'll be back eventually with
Some
one of
other
our
time.
backlog pickups.
Yeah.
So
If you're watching this in the future and watching many other videos, then
lucky you.
lucky you. But like and subscribe. Subscribe, Director Box.
See you guys next time.
Bye.